The manga starts with Keigo Kusakabe, the student council president, walking down the hallway looking so serious that other students find him intimidating. He approaches a girl and tells her to remove her earrings because they break school rules. She refuses, saying her boyfriend gave them to her and that romance matters more. He insists that rules come first and becomes angry at her for breaking them. Just then, the students behind them start getting flustered as a girl walks down the corridor. They whisper that she is the celebrity's daughter and is as cute as the rumors suggest. She approaches the scene, asking the president if something is wrong because their voices are echoing through the hallway. This girl is Chiharu Hinasaki, the first-year student council treasurer. Kusakabe explains he was warning the student about the earrings. The rule-violating student is mesmerized by Hinasaki's presence and tiny face. She offers to hold the earrings for Uhori-san, who accepts. Hinasaki compliments her style, saying she is stylish even without accessories. Afterward, Hinasaki waves them off, instructing them to stay within rules going forward. As the presidents leave, the girl whispers that she will treasure the earrings, happy that Hinasaki praised them. Kusakabe thinks to himself that Hinasaki's parents are famous actors, and she is a rising actress with a bright future. He thanks Hinasaki for helping him earlier. She replies that they should support each other when someone is in trouble. It's only fair. He thinks about how he's always the one being helped, noticing that although she's his junior, she's far more talented. Then her expression shifts. Hinasaki turns to him and admits she was really shocked that the first-year girls looked down on her. They're getting used to her. Kusakabe remarks that it took some time. She teases him, calling him a helpless senpai who can't manage without her. Kusakabe realizes that Hinasaki, usually so refined, only shows this playful, mischievous side with him. He apologizes, promising to handle things himself next time. Not satisfied with his answer, she changes the topic, suggesting going on patrol outside after school. She explains that there is a spot where students like to hang out. Kusakabe agrees, asserting that the student council cannot overlook this, as it might cause trouble for residents. They agree to meet later. After school, they go to the location, but Kusakabe notes that no students appear to be there. Hinasaki points to a banner, explaining it marks Yumime Shrine, a popular matchmaking spot. It's said that distant couples who buy paired charms are bound by love and can meet in their dreams. Holding 2 charms, she looks disappointed and only remarks on the shrine's long history, thinking to himself that a matchmaking shrine is pointless. No one would ever fall for someone like him. Hinasaki presses him, asking if he came with her because he is starting to notice her. He quickly denies it, stating he was only worried about how others would see her. Then, she states she wants to buy the charm and give it a try. She adds that if the legend is true, he might meet her in his dreams. Kusakabe finds her pushy and argues that since she is right in front of him, meeting her in a dream would not mean much. Hinasaki insists that imagining the impossible is what makes it worthwhile, teasing him that it's a request from his cute junior. He hesitates, then relents, pulling out his wallet since she's gone that far. She assures him his good days are coming and promises to cheer him on. That night, Kusakabe falls asleep with the charm resting beside his pillow. Just then, he jolts awake to Hinasaki's voice, calling him senpai. He realizes it is a dream and smiles. If this is only a dream, then nothing he does will affect reality. Lightly, he tells her he was captivated by her. Hinasaki freezes, then pinches herself to see if she's dreaming. He pulls her into a tight hug and blurts out that she's unbearably cute. He confesses that he's been drawn to her since the first time they met, by her grace and kindness, but especially by the way she treats him differently. Of course, he fell for her. Hinasaki, realizing this is a dream as well, hugs him back and shouts that he doesn't understand anything at all. She loves him too. She admits she acted like a flirt just to get his attention and reveals that the shrine they visited is special because it's where her parents met. She begs him to fall in love with her. Together, they shout that they love each other, wishing it weren't just a dream. The next day, Kusakabe is overwhelmed with guilt, convinced he can't face Hinasaki after what happened, even if it was only a dream. He enters the student council room, where a girl greets him. It's his little sister, Himari, a council member. She notices he seems down and asks if he's okay. He insists he's fine. Hinasaki arrives and greets him. Himari bluntly remarks that he looks lifeless, quickly adding that this is normal for him. Hinasaki tells him not to overdo it. Later, Hinasaki asks Kusakabe to sort through a pile of documents. Himari quickly grabs the box and leaves the room to help elsewhere. Once they're alone, Hinasaki asks if his uneasiness is about yesterday and shows him the charm. She admits she didn't have a dream, but asks if he saw her in his. Kusakabe panics. Himari returns just as he blurts out that he went to Yamami Shrine, the love blessing shrine, while on patrol. Himari freaks out, shouting that he shouldn't rely on gods for romance. Trying to justify himself, Kusakabe says he heard that Hinasaki's parents got together thanks to that shrine. Hinasaki is confused and asks when she ever told him that. Kusakabe panics. He remembers hearing that exact story in the dream. Himari checks her phone and shows a video confirming that Hinasaki's parents really did meet at Yamami Shrine. When Kusakabe asks if it's true, Hinasaki confirms it. He realizes the details of his dream couldn't have been mere imagination. That night, Kusakabe falls asleep and wakes to see Hinasaki standing before him. Smiling, he assumes it's another illusion and tries to stay calm until she suddenly collapses. As he rushes toward her, she raises a hand, telling him to wait and asking if he's really her senpai. He confirms it. She shouts that they met in yesterday's dream. She asks him to verify something. In her dream, did she tell him that her parents met at Yamami Shrine? He admits he heard it, but claims he saw it online. Frustrated, she breaks down and rolls on the floor. He calms her, and together they conclude that the charm is causing them to meet in their dreams. Kusakabe notices something strange. He remembers the dream while awake. Hinasaki cries that she remembers nothing at all, calling it unfair that only he does. He says they'll just have to accept how the charm works. More importantly, he asks if what she said in the dream, her confession, was truly how she feels. Her face turns bright red. She asks if it's wrong that she likes him, then breaks down again, calling herself a coward for hiding her feelings behind a teasing act despite loving him sincerely. Kusakabe clenches his fists and tells her his confession was genuine too. They feel the same. Hinasaki then demands that if he gets to experience mutual love in dreams, he has to confess properly in real life as well. The next morning, Kusakabe wakes with a shout, realizing that to turn the dream into reality, he's the one who has to confess. Later, Kusakabe walks to school in a state of tension, constantly questioning whether the Hinasaki he met in his dream truly reflects her real feelings. He struggles to accept that the dream could be real, yet can't ignore the strange coincidence that the shrine details matched reality. Even if the dream was a delusion, the possibility that the charm's effect was genuine lingers in his mind. Suddenly, she approaches from behind and startles him, asking why he's hesitating at the door. Flustered, he quickly enters the student council room, with her following close behind. She asks what he was thinking about, and then teasingly wonders if he gets nervous being alone with her. Holding up the charm, she jokes about whether she appeared in his dream and hints that he might have developed feelings for her. Kusakabe realizes that brushing off her question would be easy, but his feelings are real, regardless of whether the dream was an illusion. He tells her he needs to discuss something important and resolves to confess. He thanks her sincerely for her constant kindness, dedication, and the effort she makes to attend council meetings between lessons, noting that the student council functions smoothly because of her. Hence, he says, he has to be honest about how he feels. Hinasaki's demeanor suddenly shifts. With a bright smile, she waves off his seriousness, saying that buying the charm didn't mean anything significant and asking if he really took it that seriously. She then excuses herself for class, says she'll see him later, and leaves the room, leaving Kusakabe stunned and feeling rejected. That evening, he reflects on what happened and convinces himself that a dream is just a dream with no reason to repeat. He removes the charm from beside his bed and sets it on the table. Despite this, he soon falls asleep and dreams again, even though he believed the charm's power was fake. When Hinasaki appears, she is crying uncontrollably, apologizing for her behavior and confessing that she truly loves him. Once she calms down, Hinasaki explains her anxiety. She thought Kusakabe was about to reject her, especially because his earlier reaction to the charm felt distant. Afraid she had been too forward, she tried to dodge his words before he could clearly turn her down, hoping to protect herself and start over later. Kusakabe realizes that his habitual emotional distance caused her to misread his serious confession as the beginning of rejection, and he understands why she felt so hopeless. Kusakabe tells her that they aren't ready to be a couple yet. He admits that his past behavior led to the misunderstanding and worries that if things continue like this, he'll only hurt her again. Instead, he proposes using their shared dream state to understand each other fully and clear up their misunderstandings in the real world. He promises that once he truly understands her, he will confess to the real Hinasaki properly. She smiles, finding his careful, roundabout plan to win over the real her endearing. She assures him that once they understand each other, they'll become the happiest couple. Standing up, she extends her pinky and makes a promise that they will end up together. Kusakabe links his pinky with hers, sealing their agreement to be together in reality someday. The next day in the student council room, after finishing their explanations, Kusakabe announces that they should wrap up for the day. Himari, clearly exhausted, drops her head onto the desk and declares that it's finally over. She suggests that Hinasaki try resting her head on the cool surface as well, but Hinasaki politely declines. Kusakabe reflects that the real Hinasaki likely regrets what happened earlier and may be worried that he'll start distancing himself. He wants to reassure her that the awkwardness doesn't bother him, but the timing feels off. When Hinasaki looks at him and asks if something's wrong, he denies it, though he suspects she's anxious inside. Suddenly, Himari mentions that she witnessed a confession yesterday. She and Hinasaki confirm that the boy was Sasaki from the neighboring class, and Hinasaki quickly adds that she turned him down. Kusakabe feels a spike of unease and asks if she gets confessed too often. Hinasaki replies that it happens about once a week. Himari presses her, asking if she's already dating someone and suggesting she should try going out with a guy. Kusakabe tells his sister to stop, but Hinasaki calmly explains that she's busy with lessons and isn't thinking about romance right now. This confuses Kusakabe, as it clashes with the intense feelings she showed in his dream. Himari insists that youth doesn't last forever and warns that once Hinasaki becomes a famous actress, the media will restrict her freedom to fall in love. Hinasaki admits she's heard that before. Himari dramatically declares that Hinasaki needs to find someone she likes now. Hinasaki comments on how hard it is to find mutual feelings, and Himari confidently says any guy would fall for her instantly, then points at her brother and asks him to agree. Kusakabe panics at being put on the spot. He realizes this might be his chance to ease Hinasaki's anxiety and fulfill the promise he made in the dream. As he gathers his resolve, Himari starts to say there's no point in asking him, but Kusakabe cuts her off and says that he finds Hinasaki charming. Both girls freeze in shock. He continues, praising her pretty face, graceful manner, and excellence in academics, council work, and her career. He emphasizes that her brilliance isn't something she was born with, but the result of constant effort and sincerity. He says it's that noble spirit, her kindness and consideration for others, that truly makes her beautiful and urges her to always stay true to herself. A heavy silence follows. Hinasaki clutches her bag, flustered, thanks him for the compliment, announces it's time to go, wishes them a safe trip home, and rushes out of the room. Himari turns to Kusakabe and bluntly declares that what he said counts as sexual harassment. He's baffled, insisting he was only complimenting her. Himari explains that comments about appearance and personality can still be harassment. Kusakabe immediately regrets making Hinasaki uncomfortable. Himari reassures him that she knows he meant no harm and promises to smooth things over with Hinasaki on the condition that he makes hamburger steak for dinner. He readily agrees. That night, Kusakabe dreams again. Hinasaki appears cheerfully, asking if this means they're in love now. Smiling, she tells him that his words earlier were so passionate they genuinely made her happy. Kusakabe panics and bows deeply, apologizing for intending to confess, but instead making her uncomfortable. Hinasaki is surprised and asks why he thought that. He explains that her tense expression when she left worried him and says he wants to understand how she truly felt so he won't repeat the mistake. Blushing, Hinasaki admits the truth. She was incredibly happy. Hearing such heartfelt, almost proposal-like words from the usually distant Kusakabe overwhelmed her, and she couldn't process her emotions. When he asks about her stiff expression, she confesses she was desperately holding back a huge smile. Relieved, Kusakabe is glad he didn't hurt her. Hinasaki admits she was happy, but regrets being cold to him earlier that day. She then asks him to hold her. When he hesitates, she reminds him that he hugged her passionately in their first dream. He explains he only did that because he thought it wasn't real. She counters that the dream is real, just not only a dream, and urges him to make the first move. After confirming she's serious, Kusakabe hugs her from behind, catching her off guard. She asks why he seems so calm, while he wonders if he truly looks that way. After a moment, she straightens up, thanks him, and suggests they plan what comes next. She reassures him that his words reach the real her and offers one piece of advice. Because he's hard to read, he needs to be more expressive with his tone and facial expressions. Kusakabe accepts this, realizing it's been the root of their misunderstandings, and promises to try his best. Smiling, Hinasaki rests her head on his shoulder and says that tomorrow, the real her will be her best self, and encourages him to do the same so they can share this in reality soon. The next day after school, Kusakabe stands in the washroom, practicing expressions in the mirror and muttering about how difficult it is. When he enters the student council room, he finds Hinasaki gazing out the window. She turns to him and says that he probably already knows, but she wants to say it properly anyway. She tells him that she likes him.